So obligatory and mandatory fasting is the month of Ramadan. Making up missed days for a legitimate reason of the month of Ramadan. Fasting vows which a person mandated upon himself. There are other types of fasting, and these are voluntary fasting. The voluntary fast are of different types. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam either instructed us or he had done this himself, where we can learn from him that fasting such days will be highly recommended, but it's not mandatory. Among the days that are highly recommended for us to fast is the 6 days of Shawwal. So Shawwal is the Hijri calendar following the month of Ramadan. It is the 10th month in the Hijri calendar. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Whoever fasts Ramadan then follows that with 6 days of Shawwal, then that would be as if he fasted the whole year." Or in another translation, the lifetime, but this is indicating the whole year. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "He who fasts the whole year without skipping a day, as this is one of the highly recommended days." What if a woman had her monthly cycle? Should she start with fasting the 6 days or making up the missed days of Ramadan? The most authentic opinion is that she must start with making up the missed days of Ramadan first, and then after that, she can make up in order to she must start with making up the missed days of Ramadan in order to fast the 6 days of Shawwal afterwards, because if she fasted 23 days of Ramadan and skipped 6 or 7 due to menses after Eid, she started with 6 days of Shawwal, the hadith would not be fulfilling the prophecy or the reward, because she didn't complete the full Ramadan. As it says, whoever completes Ramadan that follows it with 6 days, she fasted 23 days then followed it with 6 days of Shawwal. Also part of the voluntary fast is to fast the day of Arafat, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Fast the day of Arafah. I ask Allah that it may expiate for the sins of the year that comes before it and the year that comes after it." Subhanallah, such a great reward. Also, among the recommended voluntary fast is to fast the day of Ashura. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that fasting the day of Ashura, I ask Allah that it may expiate for the sins of the year that comes before it. However, in regards to Ashura, the day of Ashura, the reward of expiating the sins of the year before it, the Prophet did this through his lifetime till the last year that he had lived, where he said, "If I were to live the following year, I will fast the 9th," meaning not to imitate the Jews by isolating the 10th of Ashura, but rather also fasting the 9th to include it. So the Sunnah is to fast the 9th and the 10th to follow the Sunnah. If you fasted the 10th of Ashura alone, that is fine, but if you fasted the 9th, the 10th, and even 11th, some scholars say, that is even better, because the Prophet ﷺ used to encourage us to fast as many days as we can from the month of Muharram, the first month of the Hijri calendar, and this is where the month where Ashura is allocated. In the hadith, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said the best month to fast after the month of Ramadan is the month of Muharram. So the month of Muharram is highly recommended to fast, but is not as highly recommended as Ashura. So the fasting of Ashura begins as follows. The least is to fast Ashura, and this is permissible and you get the reward. Then the better is to fast the 9th and the 10th, and if you can't, then fast the 10th and the 11th to be away from the way of the Jews. The third way that some scholars say is best to fast the 9th, 10th and 11th, as I mentioned, though the hadith that recommended this is not authentic. However, because this is related to something of doing good deeds, some scholars say it's fine, as it falls under the category of fasting a lot during this month, as the Prophet Muhammad mentioned, so it's fine. Other days that are highly recommended to fast of the Mondays and Thursdays every week. He used to always fast Mondays and Thursdays. For Mondays, he said that the Prophet ﷺ said, this is a day I was revealed to in it and I was born in it. 2 reasons, that's why he loves to fast it. As for Thursdays, the Prophet Muhammad that on Mondays and Thursdays the deeds are displayed and brought forward to Allah. So I would love my deeds to be displayed to Allah whilst fasting, subhanallah. Among the monthly recommended voluntary days is to fast the 3 days of every month, and the best of these 3 days are known as the 3 white days, the 13th, the 14th and 15th of every Hijri month. This means that if one deed is multiplied by 10, if you fast 3 days a month multiplied by 10, as if you fasted the whole month, which means as if you fasted the whole year, subhanallah. Likewise, fasting the first 9 days of Dhul Hijjah, and this happens once a year. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "There are no days that good deeds are more beloved than these 10 days." And also, some of the Prophet's wives that you know, some of the Prophet's words that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to continuously fast the 9 days of Dhul Hijjah. These are the best days of the whole year, and one should try his level best to fast them. Also, fasting month of Shaban, because the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to fast almost all of Shaban, and when he was asked why do you fast Shaban, he said it's a month that a lot of people are oblivious of it. So it's really important that yeah, it falls between the sacred months of Rajab and the month of Ramadan, so I'd love to fast it. Among the recommended means of fasting is fast a day and then skip a day, and that is as described of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the best type of fasting, and it's the fasting of Prophet Dawood. So a question may arise: is it permissible for someone who fasts a voluntary day to skip it? The answer is yes. Yes. It's not like a fard fast or an obligatory fast. If you start to fast a day of Ramadan, you must not skip it without legitimate reason. Likewise, when you make up for Ramadan, likewise when you start a day that you vowed or a day of expiation, no, you cannot break it to go for lunch. You're obliged to continue the day, and if you don't, you're sinful. However, voluntary fasts are different. You have the full right to skip it if you wish to, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to start his day fast, and then he comes to his home, and if his wife says to him, we are being gifted some food, he would say, okay, I was fasting, but bring the food, I'll eat it. Which means that a person who fasts voluntary fast has all the right to skip it if he wishes. This is where I conclude the video. Apologies for the sounds. I leave you here في أمان الله وصلى الله وبارك على نبينا محمد. استغفر الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.